Hello and welcome to The Breakdown. You're on ThePapare.com and we're looking back at the weekend that was in the Dialogue Rugby League, and what a weekend it was. The end of unbeaten runs, so nobody's unbeaten any longer in the league. It's blown the league wide open. Havelocks will suddenly start rubbing their hands again with glee, and let's see what happened over the course of the weekend. Here are the results from the last week. We had Navy taking on Havelocks, and that was expected to be a close game, but Havelocks winning with a bonus point 31-20. Kandy taking on Army up in Nittawela, their fortress, but Army breaching that fortress 23 points to 22. CHNFC took on CRNFC at Racecourse, winning that one comfortably 33 points to 10. And then we had Air Force registering their first win of the Dialogue Rugby League so far, beating Police by 16 points to 7. Let's look at our big upset for the weekend so far. We had Kandy taking on Army up in Nittawela, a place where they haven't been beaten for over 5 years. And in the end, Army coming away with a win, 23 points to 22. Controversial circumstances in the end, especially with that charge down of Shehan Pathirana. And it looked like it was a try for all money in the dying moments of the game for Kandy when they broke away and managed to score that try off the loose ball. But in the end, the referee overruled that, and it was a famous win for Army. Let's take nothing away from Army because of the final minute drama, because they really put their bodies on the line in that game, and they showed that if their set pieces are good, you can still beat Kandy. It's not an unbeatable team. They showed exactly why, because they're fit and they really needed to put their bodies on the line, which Army is willing to do, which most other teams may not be able to be willing to do at the same kind of effort. So Army really put in a tough game in tough conditions as well. Kandy don't like to play in those muddy, terrible conditions because it slows the game down and it makes for those backs to be not as effective. It doesn't make for such fluent running, and that was evident. So Army did get lucky a little bit with the conditions, but at the same time they did put in a lot of hard work to come away with that win. Some of their experienced players really coming to the fore, as their younger players as well. The lineouts and scrums are very impressive from Army, and their discipline also was good on the day. And despite the fact that we had a try disallowed, maybe wrongly, for Kandy at the end of the match, it showed that it was a team that was beatable. Kandy definitely was beatable on the day, and that will give a lot of heart to the teams behind them. Teams like CH, Navy and Havelocks will definitely be opening their eyes and wondering, what did Army do right and what can we learn from that game about how to beat Kandy. So Kandy fans devastated after that loss, of course, but the rest of the league is very much licking their lips and thinking maybe they are ripe for the taking at the moment. So it's blown the league wide open, and that was a fantastic result for the Dialogue Rugby League, not so much for Kandy. The next big derby match that we had was the one between CHNFC and CRNFC, moving just across the road to Racecourse, and this match played for a trophy as well. So CR had a slender lead and maybe slight favourites going into that match. They had a slender lead of 1 point after winning the first round game by that wafer-thin margin. But there was no thin margins on the day this time, because CHNFC absolutely smashed CR off the park. It was 33-5 almost until full time and ended up finishing 33 points to 10. CRNFC scored the first try of the game, a brilliant try set up by Kevin Dixon, finished by Riza Rafaidin, a superb counter-attack try. But after that, their backs never really managed to get into the game. The CR forwards were completely woeful, and some outstanding turnovers from Sasanka Ariyaratne and his mates in that back row for CHNFC, I thought did wonderfully well. Their forwards came really good in this game. They haven't been as good in these Dialogue Rugby League games that I've watched them so far, but this game they really came to be counted. And Sajid Saranga again fit and back to maybe as close to his best as he's been in the recent past. So those guys playing some outstanding games as well. Adam Gowda adding a little bit of muscle and a little bit of nous into the number 12 position also helps them out. He's distributing the ball well from that number 12 position as well. And Hiranta Pereira with some really strong tries made for CHNFC, winning that game very, very convincingly. CR will have to go back to the drawing board. Lots of problems in the set piece for them. They will need to make sure they don't get isolated and concede turnovers. They're working hard individually, but as a team, things just don't seem to be coming together. Lots going on in that CRNFC dressing room. We'll keep you updated on ThePapare.com.
Live scores දැනගන්න ThePapare.com වෙත පිවිසෙන්න.
Let's look at some of the statistics from this weekend, brought to you by stats.thepapare.com. Here's the leaderboard for you. Kandy still very much on top, but not by as big a margin as they were before the start of this weekend. Just 3 points between them and Havelocks at the moment. Kandy winning a bonus point in that last game as well. They scored their tries as well as finished within the 1 point gap of Army, so they got their bonus points on the day. 49 points they get, and Havelocks with their big win over Navy, probably one of the best games they've played recently, 46 points. Then CHNFC with another massive win over CRNFC, they leapfrog up into third place at 33 points. CR still hanging on to fourth place, but Navy will be thinking that they can overhaul them very quickly if CR keep playing like this. And then Navy Sports Club unfortunately losing that game without getting a bonus point either, and that was something that they would have been hoping for. At least a couple of losing bonus points would have taken them a little bit closer, but they are in fifth on 23 points. Police keep their place in sixth place despite that shock loss to Air Force over the course of the weekend. They've had some great scalps over this Dialogue Rugby League so far, but they wouldn't have expected to go down to the bottom team, which they did. And then we had Army Sports Club with that famous win, coming within a point of Police in seventh place. So ding-dong battle there between sixth and seventh, and Air Force with their first win with just the 8 points. They're still very much in the wooden spoon place, but it doesn't matter because they've got their win. Let's look at the numbers, our top try scorers and top point scorers. We had Dhanush Karanjan with 8 tries. He scored a couple in the game against Army, but unfortunately couldn't have the crucial one that would have given him the win and also given him a 2-try lead over Buaneka Udangamo, who is in second. So 2 Kandy players up there in the top and no surprises there. In the top point scorers category, Samuel Madhuwantha storming ahead. 105 points he has in just the start of this second round of the Rugby League. He'll probably end up with about 150 the way he's going, and what tenacity and what steadiness he gives those forwards. They know that if they do the hard work, they'll be rewarded with points from anywhere in the field. And congratulations to Madhuwantha for passing those 100 points. And Tarinder Ratwatha with 96 points, he's very close to that 100 as well, but I don't think he'll be worrying too much about that. He'll be worrying about trying to get those big W's in the Dialogue Rugby League so far, because he's been the stand-in captain for the CRNFC, and he will probably be hoping that he'll be able to get more wins than points off his boot. Here's a look at what we've got coming up for you over the course of next weekend. We have Air Force taking on CHNFC. Air Force buoyed by their first win of the season, maybe taking on a high-riding CHNFC. Perhaps we'll see a close game at Ratmalana. Havelocks taking on CR for the Mathis Trophy as well. Havelocks winning the first round game fairly comfortably, and CRNFC have a lot of work to do. Rumours are that they might have a new head coach by the time they come to Havelock Park on Saturday. That should be a good one under lights. Then we have Police taking on Kandy also on Saturday. That should be a very interesting game as well, because we have Police who will need to recover from that loss to Air Force, and Kandy don't travel well usually to Colombo. They are much better in Nittawela, and after that win, Police will be very, very confident about trying to take it to Kandy, especially given how close the game was up in Nittawela. Shamli Nawaz would probably have done his homework, but you never know. The wounded tiger Kandy may come back and absolutely blast Police off the park. So lots of possibilities there at Police Park on Saturday as well. Navy taking on Army. Watch for that battle to be a pitched one with the game at Valisara. Navy generally invincible at Valisara, but their loss against Havelock showed that they have a few things to be ironed out over the course of this week. If they get those things right, Army's line-out may not just be enough to overcome them. Navy have a little bit more quality in the side, but Army, if they come with the same heart they took to Nittawela, that should be an interesting result as well. This league has been blown wide open. Here's a trivia question for this week. Last week we asked you, when was Kandy Sports Club last defeated? Not in Nittawela, but when were they last defeated at all? And that was in the 2016-17 season. That was versus Navy at Valisara in the first round game. And our winner was Abdul Wahab Niros, and he will get himself a replica jersey courtesy of Dialogue, a replica Tuskers jersey courtesy of Dialogue. If you ask that question again, it'll be 2 days ago or a couple of days ago, but this was well before that Army's famous win. Next trivia question for this week. Who captained Army Sports Club when they beat Kandy Sports Club in 2014? So not the most recent win, but when they won against Kandy in 2014, who captained Army Sports Club? Answer the question and win yourself a replica jersey from the Sri Lanka Rugby Union, because we've got some great giveaways of that replica jersey going on. So make sure you connect to our Facebook page or comment below this video and let us know what the answer is. Those of you who watched that Kandy Army game will know what a nail-biting finish it was. We're expecting another nail-biting weekend this time as well. So make sure you keep it tuned to thepapare.com to make sure you catch all that action. Thanks for joining us on The Breakdown.